I have said this once and I'll say it again. We do not have a healthy labor market. Okay. And I don't really care if the unemployment rate went from 4.1 to 4% seasonally adjusted from December 24 to January 2025. And the reason I don't care is because we have a quality problem. We do not have broad-based participation in terms of job growth across these industries. So I just want to walk through this visual where I'm showing non-farm jobs in the aggregate up top, right, just as a line graph. And then below that, I'm showing two different cuts of non-farm payrolls, but the detail, right, the detail of that shown as a stacked bar chart by industry. And the legend for all of it is in that, for these two is over here. So, all right, if you do not have broad-based growth across these industries, what has that eventually resulted in? A recession. So right here, and you've seen it right here, and now you're seeing it right here, but on steroids, right? Does this look like that? Or that? Or that? And the answer is obviously it does not look like that. So look over here, and by the way, like I'm showing this over multiple cycles, zoomed way out. All these assholes on TV will show you like 3 months of data and they're like off to the races saying, oh yeah, it's a new bull market, the labor market's strong. Get the fuck out of here with that BS. These people are just so exceptionally full of it. And by the way, COVID conveniently makes these trends virtually impossible to see. Because look, when I zoom that out, do you see anything? You don't see a damn thing. Right? So when I zoom this thing in, and you gotta zoom it way in, it all starts to make a little more sense, right? So look, I've done that same thing, obviously, down here in this chart. And I'm showing, so this is seasonally adjusted, so is this down here. Not because I like looking at it like that. That's just because that's what, mainstream media seems to care about. So I'll show it, right? But the key takeaway here is, again, it's a little harder to see because I haven't applied a moving average to it, but there's just a ton of private education, health services, and government jobs that are accounting for the bulk of the growth. So that is not a healthy labor market. I mean, is everybody going to work for the government and in healthcare? So look, let me add another sort of uh, layer to this sort of analysis because, again, details matter, right? I haven't had an experience in my life where it didn't. Maybe there is a secular reason why private education and health services is growing at the rate that it is. So, again, there's a lot that rolls up into each one of these buckets over here, right? And so we can expand on that detail even more. So, I'm just going to look at the healthcare bucket of private education and health services. And what you are going to see, again, I'm just showing it three separate ways here, is that yes, hospitals account for the bulk of jobs in healthcare. But look at the amount of growth you're seeing in home health, right? It's just insane. And generally speaking, a big reason for that, that's a secular trend. I mean, there's obviously a boatload of investment in that space. But we're just older as a country. So, I mean, think about that from just an income potential standpoint. I mean, like that type of worker, like a home health aide, right? That's not exactly like a booming jobs market. When you look at something like employment projections, obviously home health is at the top of the list, jumps off the page. So of course these guys are going to be investing in that space. But it doesn't take away from the fact that we have a very lopsided jobs market. And eventually what's going to happen is this is going to make its way into the unemployment rate moving higher. Uh, look, most people I talk to, they don't even really understand the unemployment rate calculation. They don't understand um, what even qualifies somebody as being unemployed or even in the labor force. They certainly don't understand labor force flows at all. I mean, there is a flow chart on BLS's website that goes through all of this, right? And people, they have no idea about stuff like that. It is a very mechanical calculation. And on its own, unless you know how that's calculated, and like I've gone through already, it's virtually meaningless. And by the way, um, I mean, do you guys not realize? I mean, they have the unemployment rate by age, by sex, by age and sex, by race, uh, you know, by life status, by industry, foreign born, native born. I mean, those iterations go on and on and on. So, look, we've gone through obviously a couple cuts of the establishment survey payrolls data. And we've even looked at the healthcare detail. I mean, this is for the entire thing. This information. We can go through all of the cuts of it. I don't care. But you're not going to find a robust jobs market. And we can do the same thing for the household survey too. All of these economists out there are just the cope is so hard. They're seeing what they want to see so bad, and mainstream media is just more egregious than ever in terms of spinning this narrative like everything is fine, when in fact it's just not, because these people are just a bunch of liars. All I care about, I don't care what somebody says on TV about the job. Show me the data, I'll look for myself. And when you look at it, it looks like a giant polished turd. That's what it looks like. So if people are trying to suggest that the labor market is healthy, point them to this chart. You're not going to find it. Are you sure the unemployment rate is telling you what you think it is? I don't think that it is. I don't know how you can have any other interpretation that this is a very wonky, lopsided, weak labor market. All right? Focus on the math. That's all that should matter.